On the deck of a ship, a man stands against the cold wind, clutching a small bag close to his heart. Inside lies a golden trophy, weighing less than 4 kilograms. No one asked him to bring it, and no one waits for him on the shore. Most think him a little crazy. Yet he smiles, for he believes in something profound. This is the story of a game, not just any game, but the one that captivated 6 billion people. The game a 17-year-old boy once played with a grapefruit stuffed into a sock, and the game a dog once saved. Every 4 years, it unites the world in a common land. The man on that ship is named Jules Rimet, the president of FIFA, on his way to Uruguay for the first World Cup in 1930. 13 nations had agreed to participate, but only 4 were from Europe. Rimet had pleaded, written letters, and traveled to football associations, but many turned him down. The Great Depression loomed, and money was scarce, yet Rimet held fast to his belief. Football could foster understanding among nations. But where did this game originate? Let's journey back in time to a cold Tuesday afternoon in Scotland, November 30th, 1872. 2 teams stepped onto a muddy pitch in Glasgow, one in dark blue, the other in white. England faced Scotland, and 4,000 spectators gathered to watch. No goals were scored, and the match ended in a forgettable draw. Yet it marked the first of... Imagine that, 2 nations settling their differences on a football field, not with guns or politics, but with 11 players and a ball. The idea was small, but its impacts were monumental. Football spread from Britain to Europe, then to South America, Africa, and Asia, capturing hearts everywhere. What began as a game for English schoolboys evolved into a global phenomenon. By the 1920s, football had made its way to the Olympic Games. At the 1924 Olympics in Paris, Uruguay took to the field. This small South American country was underestimated, yet they played with a flair that astounded Europe. Their style was fast, creative, and joyous. The crowd at Column Stadium fell silent before erupting in applause. 4 years later, Uruguay triumphed again, leaving Europe in shock. Jules Rimet was watching closely. He knew it was time to propose something monumental. In 1928, at the FIFA Congress, he urged for a world championship, separate from the Olympics, something that belonged entirely to football. The vote passed, the World Cup was born. 2 years later, on that ship across the grey ocean, Rimet held onto the small golden trophy in his bag, dreaming of the first World Cup. Yet the event almost didn't happen. Many European nations refused to participate. England, Germany, Italy, and Spain all said no, citing the long journey and the deepening depression. Finally, 4 nations agreed: France, Belgium, Yugoslavia, and Romania, whose players were chosen by their king. King Carol II personally reviewed the player list, deciding who would represent his country. Can you imagine a king selecting his nation's football team? 13 teams crossed the ocean, arriving in Montevideo, Uruguay. On July 13, 1930, a French player named Lucien Laurent received the ball. He struck a volley into the net, scoring the first goal in World Cup history. At just 23 years old, Laurent etched his name into the annals of football, yet few remember him today. Uruguay ultimately defeated Argentina 4-2 in front of 93,000 spectators. Rimet stepped onto the pitch, trophy in hand, and smiled as he presented it to the Uruguay captain. But the first World Cup offered more than just victory. It imparted a crucial lesson. The small can defeat the large. The unknown can triumph over the famous. No result is guaranteed. 20 years later, this lesson would resound through the ages, echoing dramatically in Brazil. In 1950, the Maracanã Stadium in Rio de Janeiro stood as the largest stadium ever built, with a capacity of 200,000. Brazil was the host and the favorite, their nation brimming with confidence. The final was set against Uruguay. Brazil only needed a draw to claim victory, and celebrations erupted in the streets, but fate had other plans. Uruguay scored first, then again. The match concluded at 2-1 in favor of Uruguay. In that moment, 200,000 spectators fell silent, a quiet that swept across the country. This match became known as the Maracanazo, the great shock of the Maracanã. Years later, the man who scored the winning goal would reflect, saying, "Only 3 people have ever silenced the Maracanã: Frank Sinatra." The World Cup continued to grow, crafting new narratives every 4 years. Yet in 1958, one story shifted everything. A 17-year-old boy boarded a plane to Sweden, having grown up so poor that he practiced football with a grapefruit stuffed into a sock. His father had been a footballer who never found fame, but this boy, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, vowed to be different. The world would come to know him as Pele. At the 1958 World Cup, Pele became the youngest player to ever grace a World Cup final, scoring twice as Brazil triumphed 5-2. After the final whistle, he collapsed on the pitch in tears, carried off by his teammates. At just 17 years old, he stood. Yet the tale of Brazil's golden age extends beyond Pele alone. In 1962, during the World Cup, Pele suffered an injury and could not play again. Most teams would have crumbled, but Brazil had another star. Manuel Francisco dos Santos, known as Garrincha or Little Bird. He grew up in poverty, with deformed legs that made. Despite the odds, Garrincha became one of football's greatest dribblers. In 1962, he led Brazil to victory, almost single-handedly. His joy was infectious, playing as if football was the essence of life. Brazil claimed their second World Cup, a testament to. In 1970, the heat of Mexico bore witness to a new Brazilian squad. With Pelé leading the charge, alongside Tostão, Rivellino and Carlos Alberto, they played in harmony, each player moving as one. In the final against Italy, they emerged victorious, 4-1. Carlos Alberto ran onto a pass from Pelé, striking the ball without losing stride, a moment forever remembered as the greatest team goal in World Cup history. After the final whistle, Pelé stood amidst the jubilation, tears streaming down his face as a teammate wrapped an arm around him. A photograph captured that moment, becoming an enduring image of the World Cup for generations. Brazil was awarded the Jules Rimet Trophy permanently, the only team. The world began to refer to Brazil's style of play as Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game. However, this epic saga isn't without its shadows. Dark years emerged, when the tournament faced challenges that seemed insurmountable. In 1942 and 1946, the World Cup was absent. The Second World War engulfed the globe. Stadiums transformed into military bases. Players became soldiers. Jules Rimet's dream was put on hold, and the trophy itself lay in peril. During the German occupation of Rome, FIFA Vice President Ottorino Barassi made a pivotal decision. He took the Jules Rimet trophy, wrapped it in cloth, and hid it away in a shoebox beneath his bed. For 3 years, Barassi safeguarded this secret, checking on the box nightly, believing it would one day be cherished again. For decades, Africa, Asia, North America watched through a window, yearning for a place in the grand game of football. At the 1966 World Cup in England, African nations stood united, boycotting the tournament. Their message echoed loudly: "We exist and we will not be ignored." This powerful protest bore fruit. By 1970, Africa secured guaranteed spots in the tournament. As the years rolled on, the World Cup expanded, morphing into a tapestry of nations and their stories. In 1982, the tournament welcomed 24 teams, broadening the horizon of competition. Then came 1994, when the World Cup landed in the United States, a country where football remained largely unknown. American children watched in wonder, igniting a passion that would eventually forge one of the strongest football leagues in the world. By 2002, the stage shifted to Asia as South Korea and Japan co-hosted, finally giving the continent. The year 2010 marked a monumental milestone as the World Cup graced Africa for the first time, hosted by South Africa. The vibrant sound of vuvuzelas filled stadiums, a proclamation that this continent too had a rightful place in the game. The tournament was more than just matches, it was a powerful statement: we are here, this game belongs to us too. Then came 2022, where Morocco emerged as a beacon of hope. They battled fiercely, defeating Belgium, Spain and Portugal, making history as the first African team to reach the semi-finals. The victory over Spain, sealed by a penalty shootout, ignited celebrations not only in Morocco but across the continent, in Senegal, Nigeria, Egypt. United in. Achraf Hakimi, Morocco's star player, embodied this spirit. Born in Madrid to a mother who worked tirelessly to provide him a better life, he scored the decisive penalty against Spain. In that moment, he ran to embrace his mother in the stands, a poignant photograph capturing joy, tears, and pride that resonated globally. It showcased the essence of the World Cup, a mirror reflecting shared dreams and struggles. Now we stand on the brink of a new era in 2026. For the first time, the World Cup will unfold across 3 nations: the United States, Mexico, and Canada. 16 cities will welcome the world, 11 in the United States, 3 in Mexico, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Monterrey, and 2 in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver. The tournament will expand to 48 teams, embracing more nations. On June 11th in Mexico City, a referee will blow the whistle, signaling the start of a journey for 48 nations. Some arrive as favorites, while most come as dreamers. An estimated 6 billion people will tune in, more than 3/4 of humanity, gathering in living rooms, bars, on phones and laptops. United in purpose, they will speak countless languages and share fleeting connections, all understanding the significance of. Imagine Jules Rimet standing on a ship in 1930, clutching a small golden trophy. He wasn't carrying just a trophy, he was holding an idea, the idea that football could bridge divides and foster understanding among nations. Rimet had no proof, only a steadfast belief. 154 years since that cold Tuesday in Glasgow, his vision has endured, tested by wars, and the shoebox is now open, the trophy resting under 6 billion pairs of eyes, waiting for a captain from a nation that might surprise the world. It's a recurring theme, the unexpected triumphs. You too may carry something within, a hope, an idea, a belief that others might deem crazy. The path may seem daunting, an ocean to cross with uncertain shores ahead. Yet, like Rimet, you press on. The World Cup belongs to everyone. It belongs to the boy who practiced with a grapefruit, to the bird that soared despite its challenges, to the man who safeguarded a trophy in a shoebox, and to the mother who worked tirelessly in Madrid for her son to shine. It belongs to the 6 billion souls who watch, feel, and unite in these moments. Thank you for sharing this journey today. Your presence means the world. Now, reflect on the moments that surprised you most. Until we meet again, take care.